Welcome to this week's midweek thought for the day. We're going to begin with a bit from Mark chapter 1 and verses 21 onwards. They went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, he entered the synagogue and taught. They were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, not as the scribes. Just then there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, you the Holy One of God." But Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be silent and come out of him." And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying with a loud voice, came out of him. They were all amazed and kept on asking one another, "What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." At once his fame began to spread throughout the surrounding region of Galilee. So this week I've been looking at In the Wrong Messiah by Nick Page, the chapter on Capernaum and about Jesus living in Capernaum. So Capernaum's kind of on the northern shore of the Lake of Galilee, and this is kind of a key thing which happens there. And I'm actually going to just read you some of Nick's writings of it. Some of it is about understanding how people in the first century thought about magic and about demons, and a bit about how this theologically sets us up for an understanding of who Jesus is. So, according to a first century understanding of magic then, this is a preemptive strike. In this reading, the Spirit's question, "Have you come to destroy us?" might be seen as a challenge rather than a premonition. Jesus meets the challenge head on. Although the world in which Jesus operated took demonic powers for granted, their way of dealing with these powers differed greatly. They would seek to treat the problems with incantations or herbal remedies, or by seeking to invoke a higher power to overcome a lesser one. Jesus does not use elaborate rituals or special rings. He does not invoke the name of Solomon or any other Old Testament character. He does not even pray to God, as was the usual practice. He just rebukes the demons, commands them, orders them to leave. The Greek word often used is ekabalo, from ballo, to throw. Jesus literally chucks them out. Here he is just as abrupt. He tells the spirit, now I have to practice this, so my Greek is not very good, phimotheti, and that means shut up. Before the spirit can say any more, before any further defensive manoeuvres can begin, Jesus begins the process of eviction. "Come out," he commands, and with convulsions and loud cries, the man is free. The result is that the man is brought back into kinship, into the worshipping community. Exorcism for Jesus, like other healings, is never just about curing the problem. It is about restoring people to wholeness, allowing them to engage in worship, bringing them, in short, to the kingdom of God. The miracle, the exorcising of the demon-possessed man in the synagogue at Capernaum, is a kind of signature miracle. It is this miracle, with the town gathered at their community meeting, that really sets the whole region talking. It was not done for effect, but it does have a massive effect. This is a brick chucked through the window of the powers of darkness. The Greek words used to describe the synagogue crowd, meaning astounded and amazed, imply a slight nervousness. The demon recognises what the crowd nervously sense. The normal order has been disrupted. Something has changed. There are many discussions about how demon possession is portrayed in the Gospels, and how it could be this, or it could be that, or it could be epilepsy, or it could be schizophrenia type symptoms, or it could be all these sorts of things. And I don't really want to talk about that today, because those are important things. But I think what really struck me reading this little passage from Nick's book was how actually this was written to help people who, the gospel was written to help people who lived in the kind of 1st and 2nd centuries work out who Jesus is in their understanding of the world, which is different to our understanding of the world. So whilst some aspects of this story seem really very alien to us and into our culture, we might not think about how that would work. Sometimes it might not be so alien to us, but that we struggle with this. But I think Nick's points about the fact that this healing is all about Jesus showing his power over evil. His power, he doesn't even pray, he just tells the Spirit to go out. So the person writing the gospel was just illustrating that Jesus could just do this. This is who Jesus is. He doesn't need to invoke Solomon, he doesn't need to do any magic to counter it. There is no other magic involved in this. This is just Jesus, and he has the power just to do it. Just to do it. And that is important right at the very beginning to help us understand who Jesus is. And that might have been quite an odd thing. There were probably about 1,000 people living in Capernaum, and that all of a sudden they have someone who has this power to heal someone in this way right there amongst them, and that is part of what happens. But there's also something quite important about Jesus being the assault on evil in this, and I love the bit where Nick writes, "This is a brick chucked through the window of the powers of darkness." You know, that whole kind of, well, yeah, this, I'm coming to get you, evil sort of thing. And then there's this thing, the demon recognises what the crowd nervously sense. The normal order has been disrupted and something has changed. And that is tied in with our theological understanding of how Jesus coming, his death and resurrection are part of cosmos changing events, and how that we understand that, how we try to grasp that is quite a difficult thing for us to do, but we ought to think about it sometimes. So today, not getting stuck into the nitty-gritty explanation of what might have caused this person to behave or be ill in this way, but actually the portrayal that Jesus is bringing this person who was ostracised by his society and back into the worshipping community, a well and a whole person, and actually saying that evil does not have jurisdiction over him now. Next week we'll be thinking a bit more about Jesus' time in Galilee as a whole. So I hope that you're well. Be in touch if you want to ask about anything or need anything, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.